Okay, so I'm sure we've all done it before. We've been on eBay, thought we're going to get a deal on a golf club, unsure if it's going to be fake, if it's going to be real or not, and unsure about what the hell to do. So in this video I'm going to talk through a club that I managed to buy and actually was duped into thinking it was real, and it's actually counterfeit. So how do I know it's counterfeit or fake? I think the first one is, this is supposed to be a Taylormade M6 3-wood, and I think the first thing I noticed when I unboxed this one was, and you can see my video of unboxing it for the surprise, is I'm going to do some testing on it, is actually, if you can see, this M6 stitching, that is just way too much spacing in that M6. So that first of all told me this might be a fake. The second thing is straight away I noticed on the golf club how tinny it felt. I don't know if you can hear that. Now, Taylormade fairway woods do not feel like that. They kind of have like a damp, sort of soft echo, not like a clicky metal noise. So this is a real one. This is actually an M5, but this is a real one. And you can hear the difference. Can you see like that dull click? And this is the metally one. And if you feel it with a golf ball, you can hear this, look. Just sounds really, really tinny, whereas the real one, it just sounds far more of a thump. The second thing that looked very obvious to me was when I was looking at the head. I don't know if you can see in here, but around the casing of the M6, and actually in this hosel, it's quite hard for you to see on this camera, but there's like little traces of rust. And when I first got it, I thought maybe that was a bit of dirt, so I tried to clean it out, and it's definitely rust. Now, Taylormade heads usually will not rust. They're made of stainless steel, and they have this should be like a resin composite. So that rust straight away told me that it was probably a titanium head, which is a cheap copy. The next thing I noticed, and the big giveaway number 3, which is the absolute definite reason it is counterfeit, is I'll put some pictures in here too, but it's really, really hard to see on this camera. But if you can see in here, you can see like the printing of the M6, like the actual red part of the M overlaps onto the 6, and also the top of the head. Again, I'll put some pictures on it. You can see like some bubbling of this material, which is clearly like just not right. And if I was to show you an actual Taylormade head, this is an M5, but very, very similar. So you can see definitely no overlapping of the M onto the 5 here, and also no bubbling on this sort of carbon fibre top. And you can feel like that is just a different type of material, whereas the fake one, you can just already feel like it's clicky. That's definitely fake. There is another way I know it's fake too. So once you start feeling that it's fake, there's lots of other giveaways. The next obvious sort of giveaway it's fake is if you look completely down this shaft, which again you may not be able to see on this video, so I'm going to have to put some pictures on, but the grip is like really twisted. Like, it smells very rubbery, like it doesn't feel like a normal Taylormade grip. And if you look, it's really hard to see on this angle, but that grip is badly twisted. Like, there's no way this has been put on by a professional club fitter in one of the Taylormade factories. No way at all. Now sometimes you do get grips that move or wriggle a little bit, but it's very rare. That's very out of line. And the other thing that I noticed too, these are the big giveaways, is when I actually address the club, it actually doesn't sit square, the head. So I'm going to try and show you how this head sort of sits a little bit shut. It's incredibly hard to explain to, I guess, the untrained eye, like when a club just feels like it just doesn't set up correctly at address. So I found a bit of a scabby grass here, so we might be able to see it, and I've put an alignment rod down. So if I was to hold this club, that face just looks turned in at address. It should normally sit square, but I have to physically, if I just sit the club down, it just sits shut. I've got to manually just move the club around to make it look square. So without even hitting a golf shot yet, they're the big giveaways that this thing is fake. So just to go through it, first of all, the head cover just didn't look right. Secondly, the head just felt well too tinny. Third, there was bits of rust on it, which is just not right. It just indicates it's made from like a cheap metal or titanium, not the proper Taylormade finish. The fourth point was the logo. It just was overlapping, which is a bad print drop. The next one was the grip twisted. That was the sixth reason. There's no way, and the grip just smelt wrong. It just felt like not a quality grip, just a cheap add-on. And finally, just the setup looked shut. So that's the seven really big giveaways that this thing is fake. Now, I've not even hit a golf shot yet, and yet I figured out this thing's fake. So I think the big question that I'm sure you're thinking, which I'm thinking too, is, so what if it's fake? Like, of course, I mean, I can make adjustments at address if it feels a bit shut, but what is the actual performance of the club like, and how does it feel? Okay, this is where it's going to be fun. So I've now headed onto the golf course. I'm just going to test this fake M6 Taylormade 3-wood and just get a sense of how it actually performs. Hit a couple of balls with the fake one, and I'm going to hit a couple of balls with the genuine. It's actually an M5, but it's comparable in terms of how it will feel. Yeah, so in terms of balls, I'm going to use the exact same balls for each one, Pro V1s, not Pro V1X, just standard Pro V1s for both clubs, and I give a bit of feedback on them. Okay, so the first one up is going to be the fake M6. I'm just going to give it a little go and see what I think. Straight away, as soon as I put the club behind the ball, I can hear that kind of tinny noise. It just feels fake. So let's see how it strikes. Oh my gosh, it's so spinny. It was just like really high trajectory. It just felt really tinny and just weak. And again, I'm not mentioned it already, but this shaft, although it looks a relatively good copy, the whole logo of it looks out of line too. So again, this shaft looks weird too. So I'm just going to hit one more with this fake M6 and let's see what we think. An actual genuine M5, and again, same balls, Pro V1s. And that just felt so much more solid. Definitely wasn't cutting up as much spin as the other one, given it's a completely different shaft, but it's just the feel of the head that I'm more concerned about. It just felt so much more solid. So let's hit another one. I'm going to hit one more, and then I'm going to go down and just check the distances too and see how they are. I mean, that's just so solid, so different from that fake M6. So now I've hit those golf shots with the fake one and the real one. I've just been walking down the fairway just to try and get a feel for the distance of them. Yeah, of course I could use a fancy launch monitor, and I don't have a fancy one like a GC Quad. I have a smaller portable launch monitor. But actually, for me, the proof's in the pudding on the golf course. So, like I said, when I hit the fake one, what I found was it was very spinny. And very kind of high. The ball flight seemed high, a bit cutty, a little bit mini fade on there. But actually, what is actually the distance difference? So I'm going to spin the camera around and we can have a look as I walk down this fairway. So walking down the fairway, I can quite easily see the 4 balls that I've hit. 2 balls there, and 2 balls there. Now, I've marked these ones up so I know which ones are which, but I know for a fact these two here slightly further right than the other two. These two here with the M6, fake M6, yeah, you might argue the better position, middle of the fairway, but they're within 25 feet of each other, and both of them were quite kind of high, spinny, and with a little bit of cut on, like I said. If I go over here, there's a good, yeah, I mean, look, there's the two with the M6, and these are the two with the M5. Again, exactly the same loft, these two clubs, both of them are 15-degree lofts, and you can see there's a good 10 paces between them, so if not 15. So I'm going to pace those out now. I'm actually now just going to quickly pace off the distance between the two shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So actually 12 yards difference between the two, or 12 paces between the two. So what's my final verdict of the fake M5? Well, actually, from a distance perspective, very little in it. I mean, 12 paces, that's all. But the difference is just absolutely no wind out here today. So even though I thought when I hit the fake M6, it was very, very spinny, and that was a problem. It kind of cut a little bit. So even though there's no wind today, I think if there was some wind, there's no doubt that would have affected the performance, and it would have been a lot shorter than the genuine M5 that I hit, which was far more, the ball flight was far more penetrating. So, I mean, overall, yeah, I mean, it's not that bad in the scheme of things, but I really wouldn't be switching to a fake one anytime soon.